Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. All together, please. Om Jnana Timirandasya Ganandana Salakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yukta Padakamalang Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Jivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Prijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padang Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamshcha He Krishna Karana Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapcha Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishabhana Sutta Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanshakalpa Dharubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bevacha Padita Nam Pavnebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So, thank you all very much for coming to class. Today is Bhagavad-Gita, first chapter, setting the scene. Text number 12 and 13. Right? Hare Krishna. So, please repeat. Tasya Sanjana Harsham Kuru Vridaha Pitamaha Simha Nadam Vinachay Vinajyochai Sakyam Dhadmo Pratapavan. So, we'll also do the Sanskrit now of number 13. Tataha Sankyas Cha Bharyas Cha Panavanaka Gomukha Sahasaiva Bhyantyata Sahasaiva Bhyantyanta Sahasaiva Bhyantyanta Sa Shabdas Tumalo Bhavet. So, Tasya Sanjanam Hasham Kuru Vrida Pitamaha Simbhanadham Vinakyochai Sankyam Dhamyo Pratapavan Tasa Sankascha Bhairascha Panavanaka Gomukha Sahasaiva Bhyahanyanta Sa Shabdastu Malo Bhavet. Okay, word for word, verse 12. Tasya, his, Sanjanayan, increasing, Harsham, cheerfulness, Kuruvrida, the grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, Bhishma, Pitamaha, the grandfather, Simhanandam, roaring sound, like that of a lion, Vinajya, vibrating. Uchai, very loudly. Sankyam, conch shell. Tamo, blue. Pratapa, ban, the valiant. Word for word, number 13. Tataha, thereafter. Sankhyaha, conch shells. Cha, also. Dharayaha, large drums. Cha, and. Panava anaka, small drums and kettle drums. Gomukaha, horns. Sahasa, all of a sudden. Eva, certainly. Abhiyanhanyanta, were simultaneously sounded. Saha, that. Shabdha, combined sound. Tumalaha, tumultuous. Abhravat, became. So, translation number 12. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. Number 13. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. So, please repeat. Then Bhima, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, drew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. So, purport to number 12 by Srila Prabhupada. The grandsire of the Kuru dynasty could understand the inner meaning of the heart of his grandson Duryodhana, and out of his out of his natural compassion for him, he tried to cheer him by blowing his conch shell very loudly, befitting his position as a lion. Indirectly, by the symbolism of the conch shell, he informed his depressed grandson Duryodhana that he had no chance of victory in the battle, because the Supreme Lord Krishna was on the other side. But still, it was his duty to conduct the fight, and no pains would be spared in that connection. So, Mukum Karochi Vachalam Pangam Laite Girim Yad Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Guru Dinatarinam. Then Bhishma, the great valiant grandsire of the Kuru dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy. After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous. Jai. So here is setting the scene, right? Observing the armies. So this is a very dramatic event. Yes, Bhagavad-Gita, it's full of philosophy and so on, but we must never forget that it is on the battlefield. And that there is the greatest fighters, the greatest leaders of the world, literally millions of soldiers. Different estimates are given in the Shastra, in the millions. People had come. Prabhupada, in one conversation, he says, they came from all over the world. And it is described in the Puranas, the Vedas, that they were coming in ships. Nowadays, the ignorant material scientists, so-called professors, they think, oh, we invented boats. But actually, this civilization we have now is nothing to the technology in those days. the Brahmastras. These are not mythological weapons, these are real things. The weapons, the power of these people, the Kshatriyas, that is something that we cannot conceive. Now here in Kali Yuga, we're only 5,000 years into Kali Yuga, and everyone is lucky if they can lift 50 kilos. But if you read the Mahabharata, then you hear about the strength of these Kshatriyas, the power, the austerities they performed. Here mentions Bhishma, and as we talked about last week, then he was born as Devavrata, Satyavati and Santanu. So he was taken by Ganga Devi, his mother, to all the great sages to study. Purusharam was his Astra Guru. So he had actually a Shaktivesh avatar as his teacher. And later on, because of the fight with Amba, we talked about Amba last week, the scorned woman. They say in English, hell hath no fury like a scorned woman. So remember that. But so Bhishma was an incredible Maharati. These leaders, they're such power and energy. But at the same time, they all had a sense of dharma. That's what's missing in this Kali Yuga now. Everyone is just making up what's right and wrong according to their convenience, and they're performing all sorts of abominable activities. But as we talked about last week, Bhishma, his father, Santanu, he was the king. I was just reading this afternoon. He was the leader of the Luna dynasty. And in his previous life, his name was Maha Abhishek. He eventually attained Vishnu Loka. And I read there in the Purana that his previous life, we talked about how the Mahabharata starts with Santanu and Ganga Devi generally. But in his previous life, he was liberated soul. He was in the court of Lord Brahma. And there was a gentle breeze, and the upper cloth of Ganga Devi was blown in the breeze. And he glanced at her, and she glanced at him. And Lord Brahma, this desire cannot be fulfilled in such a lok. You must take birth on the material in Bhuloka. Because Brahmalok, you can find description by acharyas that area, particularly in this universe, it is like 95% Vaikuntha, and there is a touch of the mode of goodness. So Raja Esha Guna, Kama Esha Raja Guna Samudbhava. This is mode of passion. Here down in Bhumandala, passion is very prominent. Passion and ignorance now in Kali Yuga. People are ignorant of any principles or how the universe is composed or how it works or anything. They're very passionate, breaking and building, running here and there, going on demonstrations, and they don't even know what they're demonstrating about, and so on and so forth. So here in Kali Yuga, very ignorant place. But that was the end of Dwarpa Yuga. Krishna, the battlefield here, was about 100 years old, acharyas have, and he lived, or let's say he was manifest on this plane for another 25 years. And his departure was the Yuga Sandhya. When Krishna left, then they were wondering, now where is Dharma, right? There's that verse in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Now that Krishna has, what is that? Paranaka Dunodita, how does it start? Krishna Swadharma Pagate Jnana Debi Saha. Karonastam Trisa Esham Paranaka Dunodita. Now that Krishna has gone to his own abode with knowledge, dharma, good behavior and such, where is that gone now? Because we see at the end of the Gita, right, wherever there is Krishna, tatra yatra yogeshvaro Krishna, yatra partha dhanordara, tatra sti vijaya buddhir, matir mama. Yeah, wherever there is Krishna and Arjuna, his devotee, there will be victory, morality, so on and so. There'll be all good qualities. So the sages, they were asking that. Now Krishna's gone, and he was maintaining dharma. 3 reasons Krishna comes. Yada yada hidharmasha. Why? To paritranaya sadhunam. Number 1. That means it's his priority. To protect the saintly persons. Sadhu. What is sadhu? Sadhu, shastra, sat. They are the people who live according to the shastra. That is a sadhu, the Vedic shastra. They live according to dharma, the advice, the codes given in the shastra. So that is sadhu. So those persons, they are under the personal protection of the Supreme Lord. And then duskritam, the duskritina. We were talking about that in Saturday. What is a duskritina? Duskritina is the person who is opposed to the plan of Krishna. The plan of Krishna is that everyone, especially in the human form of life, should have a chance to progress spiritually and go back to the eternal platform, their origin, their place of rest, their place of ecstasy, their place of knowledge, their true behavior is there. That is the true home. So that is the plan of Krishna, but the Duskritina, no. He wants to control the material world. He wants to be the God of the material energy, right? They want to be God. They can't be God in the spiritual world. They refuse to accept that there is a Supreme Lord, just like Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu. They wouldn't accept that there is a Supreme Lord. They think the ultimate position, like the Mayavadi, is energy. And therefore, through austerity, power, or alliances with some demoniac force, I will become as a god. But as a god of this material world. So really all the material philosophies, whether it's globalism, socialism, capitalism, whatever, feminism, all the isms, all the tantric religions that are very popular in the Kali Yuga, they are all ways to dominate the material energy. So material energy is Bhumi, Durga Devi, Mother Earth, Mother Durga, Sita Ma. They want to dominate their mother instead of serving their mother. So this is the perversion of material conditioning. They want to become Lord Shiva. They want to be Lord Vishnu. They want to be the ultimate principle. They don't want to be the servant of the of the Supreme. They want to be the controller of the material energy. And they have all many philosophies, voidism, impersonalism, all ways to deny that there is a Supreme Person. Ultimately, there's only 3 divisions of the Absolute, or 3 explanations of the source. Right? We all, naturally, human being wants to know, what is the source? I'm existing, like even when children or young men, they look at the stars. How did it all appear? Where's it all come from? What is the source? What is the cause? Therefore, the Vedas start with this point, the summation, like we say, where is the knowledge? Janmadya Shita. The source, that is the absolute truth. The source is that which has given birth to the creation. That is the absolute. That is the supreme. So they don't want to say it is a person. They want to say it is either void. So this is very popular in Kali Yuga. Everything has come from nothing, right? Or they will say it hasn't got a source because it's always existing, right? They'll say that kind of thing. They'll juggle words. But they'll say that nothingness. But nothingness, by definition, does not exist. Right? So this is an interesting point. Because generally, materially conditioned people, they think in the yin and yang, good and bad, opposites. But actually, So they think that there is existence and there's non-existence. But if we think reasonably, then non-existence by definition does not exist. You understand? There is no kind of region that is non-existence, because by definition it's not there. So voidism is a very stupid, illogical idea. But it's very prevalent in Kali Yuga. The material scientists like to say that. And then there's the impersonalists that say, monists, nirviseshvadis, nirguna, that ultimately there is no, the absolute truth is just energy. Right? So this conception, the Mayavadi, what is that verse? Mayavadi Krishna Aparadi. It is, we know from Chaitanya Leela, Nityananda particularly, he wasn't happy to see Buddhists meditating on the void. Because how can you meditate on the void? As people think, oh, the void is a dark place, or but a dark place is something. It's not a void. So therefore I'm saying, therefore people must understand that actually existence is unlimited. Because there's no counterpoint. Like you're saying, young man, he may look at the star in the sky at night, lay on his back in the fields and think, where does the universe come to an end? Right? Where is the end of creation? Well, actually, there is no end of creation. And actually the counterpoint to creation, the eternality, sat, is not non-existence, but temporary existence. The Vedas informs us that this material world is asashvatam. It is not a permanent place. Everything is in flux, in change in this place. But the spiritual world is eternal, and it is beyond the three modes of material nature, which are kicked into by the time factor. So there is no non-existence. Buddhism is Gnostic, right? Because they say that ultimately you should non-exist, because everyone is suffering. Therefore, why continue your existence? Even many philosophers like that. So they're the voidist type people. Prishjanam Buddham Ochyate. It's in the Padma Puran. Bhakti-Vinod Jaiva Dharma, he discusses this point, that Buddhism, impersonalism is covered Buddhism, that there is no source. But it is not a personal source, it's just energy. And it has no quality, it has no variety. Well, if the cause has no quality, no variety, then how has that source given birth to all the variety that we see? That is also illogical. Just like it is illogical to say that everything has come from the void, because the void is not there in the first place. And if you counter that argument by saying, oh, well, the material energy has always existed, it doesn't, if we accept that idea, people will propose, then we don't need a source, right? We don't need a source, because we just say everything existed. But that is actually avoiding the question. Why is everything always existing? So it is an incomplete answer. It doesn't satisfy. Okay, you're saying everything has existed, this world, this creation has always existed, but why has it always existing? Why? It's incomplete. It's unsatisfactory. If it was complete, it would satisfy all our intelligent inquiries. And basic question is, why? So the Vedas explain that. The absolute truth is personal. It is Krishna. And yes, the energy that you're obsessed with, that is his effulgence. The Vishnu Puran, the Supreme Lord has three energies. Many, but they are categorized in three ways. There's the Chit Shakti, his spiritual energy. Then there is the material energy, the Ashat Shakti, the Maya Shakti, and then there's the Jiva Shakti. So they are all have their origin in the Supreme. But the demoniac, like Duryodhana, Ravana, Kamsa, they think that I'll be in charge of the energy, not the Supreme Lord. They think that God, or being powerful, is like a job you attain. You know, you can kill, like Hiranyakashipu, you can kill Vishnu, then I'll be the big one. I'll be the big number one. So he found out it's not possible. And we discussed already, everyone is subject to God in the form of death, the Supreme, right? Supreme is death. So anyway, in the meantime, in ignorance, the materially engrossed, the materially conditioned, they fight to be controller of this world. And that is Duryodhana. So you might say, well, Bhishma, he's one of the Vastu, you know, one of the 8 Vasus. He is the 8 deities. So why doesn't he do a Bhishma? Because the Astavasu, they're the deities, they're from the upper region. Why doesn't be like Bibhishan? You know, Bibhishan before the other big battle, Ram and Ravana. Why didn't he? Why didn't Bhishma? Why is Bhishma blowing his horn to give Duryodhana joy? Why isn't he saying, oh, Duryodhana, you're a, you know, I've had enough of you. You and Sakuni. Sakuni was the big orchestrator, you know, making all the trouble, trying to... Not a... Huh?
Krishna wants to battle to be happen. So Krishna is a devotee of Krishna, so he fulfills God's desire.
Anyway, Sakuni. So why is Krishna, why is Bhishma not, you know, being like Vibhishan and saying, oh, Duryodhana, I'm not supporting you? Well, actually, he took 2 vows, Bhishma. The first one we all know. Okay, father of Satyavati, I'll not marry. I'll not have children. So there'll be no descendants of mine fighting your descendants for the throne in the future. Right? We discussed this last week. But there was also another thing. Because the question is, okay, then you're not going to have children, but maybe you'll fight my sons, my descendants of my beloved daughter Satyavati, who's going to marry Santanu. Maybe. So then Bhishma took a second vow. This is less known or less talked about. And that was that, no, I am the servant of my father, Santanu, this leader of the lunar dynasty, who eventually attains Vishnu Loka, who's who can visit the court of Lord Brahma, who can take Ganga Devi on this Bhumandala as his wife. It's all Leela, of course. We shouldn't ascribe this kind of low plane to that plane. This is a wonderful plane of that we have to meditate upon to realize. It's almost beyond words, Brahmalok. Anyway, so I will, he said, Bhishma, I will serve whoever is on the throne of the Kuru dynasty. I'll see the image of my father, like we say, where is Dharma? The Kshatriyas, they were Dharmavadis. They were always very careful, followed Dharma. Why? Because they knew that the laws of karma are there. If you step outside your Dharma, then karma will grab you. This is in Chanaka Pandit's Niti Shastri. He explains, because Niti means politics. He was advisor to Ashok, right? And was it? Or Chandragupta? Chandragupta, yes. So he says there that the king, he should be very, very careful, because even the smallest of his ministers, if he offends him, that will come back to him. So the proper understanding, the Dharma is followed by the materially conditioned, that if you step outside Dharma, then you'll get reaction. reaction will come. And it will come inevitably. You can't think, oh, I'm a powerful man. This is how the demon thinks. I'm a powerful man. I'm full of austerity. I'm a big man, and I'll just brush aside. And we see that in the history of the world, right? Uneasy lies the head that wears the crown. Why? Because they always feel, I got here through bad activities. They feel this, but now I'm going to lose it. So Bhishma had taken the vow, I will see my father in the image of whoever's on the throne, and I will behave in that way. So that's why he didn't act like Vibhishan. Vibhishan thought, this is ridiculous. Well, how can I fight on the side of Ravana when he's such a terrible fellow? He's snatching the wife of Ram, and he is trying to enjoy her, which is so adharmic. Enjoying the wife of another man, what to speak of Ramchandra. So he thought, I can't do that. And then there's also another story about Bhishma. It starts, it's actually before the conversation here of Arjuna. And that's in the Mahabharata, I've read. And before Arjuna, in a few verses, Arjuna will ask Krishna, take my chariot between these huge armies. And before that, Yudhisthira, he actually got down from his chariot. And he walked to the other side. And it's explained there in the Mahabharata, the soldiers were saying, what's he going to do? He's going to compromise? He's going to give up? What is this? He just got off the chariot and walked. And he approached Bhishma first, and Dronacharya and all those people. And he asked Bhishma, because he is Dharmaraj, he's the follower of Dharma, his duty as a Kshatriya, as prescribed in the Vedas. So these are my superiors, these are my teachers. So he went and he asked permission. Dronacharya was his guru. Dronacharya was the Astra Guru, the teacher of Drishtadyumna, right? Just earlier before Arjuna's provoking Bhishma. He's saying, look, they're all very well organized, this Pandava army, because your disciple, your student, Drishtadyumna, has learned the art from you. So he's a little nasty, a bit cheeky to Bhishma. To Dronacharya, so criticizing, speaking. So anyway, Yudhisthira went to Bhishma and he said, please, you're the leader of the Kuru dynasty, you're the superior. Please give me permission to fight with you. He wouldn't just fight. No, you're my superior, give me permission to fight. And my brothers, give us all permission to fight. So Bhishma said, yes, your cause is just and my blessing is with you. Because Duryodhana, this is later on, he's having a few qualms about this, you know. It's a bigger army. We've got 11 Akshahinis, they've got 7. But they've got that Krishna. And he's got a big conch shell. And Bhishma is blowing the conch shell. Prabhupada says in the purport there, this is reference to Krishna, because Vishnu, he carries the conch shell. He carries 2 weapons and 2 things for his devotees. He carries the chakra and the gada for the demon, and for the devotees he carries the conch shell and the lotus flower. That's for the devotees. So Bhishma blows the conch shell. He's giving a hint, actually. There's a conch shell bearer on the other side. And his name is Krishna. That's what Prabhupada is referencing. So Bhishma said, well, actually your cause is just, I bless you. But please forgive me. A man is not master of wealth. He is servant of wealth. And I have been supported by Duryodhana. All these big leaders on the other side, They were all in the court of Duryodhana, and of course the treasury was at their disposal. So this is very important to understand. A man is not master of wealth. He's the servant of wealth. Because Duryodhana has been supporting me. And same thing with Dronacharya, right? I know the yoke right. I know Duryodhana is bad, but I'm polluted because I've been taking income from a demon, Duryodhana. But also, he didn't mention it, but I've also taken a vow to serve whoever sits on the throne in honor of my father. So I can't go against my dharma. I must follow my word. So he's telling like that. So Duryodhana, he's thinking, Bhishma's a big tough guy, but his heart is with the Pandavas. So I'm a little nervous about that. So therefore Bhishma blew his, what's the name of his conch shell? Is it given the name? It's interesting that each of the conch shells have a name. He doesn't give the name. But next thing, that Krishna and Arjuna, they have a name. Yeah, Panchanjanya. And Pondra, you see, his conch shell, Panchanjanya. Who is that? Is that Krishna's? That's Krishna's. And Arjuna's is Dhananjaya? Sorry? Devadatta. Yeah, the name. So they're persons. And also in the Sanskrit here, Divya. Right? Sounded there? Yes, it's here, look. Divya Sankhyo. They're divine. They're divine. So the other guys, they're blowing conch shells, but they're not transcendental. Because they're not servants of the Supreme. They're not tuned into Krishna. They're stuck in the material modes. But the thing is, it's very interesting if we think about what Bhishma said, it's the same point. You see, Ravana and Hiranyakashipu, they're servants of their opulence. Right? Especially even now, especially in Kali Yuga, if you have a bit of money, you have to really work hard to keep it. The taxman's coming, this coming, prices are going up. The taxman is coming again when you get your salary. The taxman's coming when you buy something. The taxman's coming when you die. The taxman's attacking you for every way possible. So you have to serve your wealth. It's not as if you can just put it on the shelf and it's there. No, you have to stick it in a bank. You have to make deals. You have to go mortgage. You become a servant of wealth. But you see, the demon, he's unable to see this. He always thinks that I'm the master of my wealth. I'm controlling my wealth. From my Lakshmi comes my power. And I'm going to be Narayan because I'm controller of Lakshmi. It's the same principle again. Do you understand? How Ravana wants to control Sita, who is the Swarup Shakti of Ram, who is Krishna, who's Krishna's energy. But he couldn't. So this principle, the materialist, there's always two classes in this material. There's the divine and the demoniac. But the demoniac think that they are the controllers. But they're controlled by time. They're controlled by death. They're controlled by karma. But they have, this is why it's the illusory Shakti. They think they are God or will attain God. I'll control the energy. But the absolute truth is a permanent position. Krishna is permanently God. You can't knock him off that position. Krishna didn't have to perform austerities, did he? When he appeared in the Gokul, he was just Krishna. He was supremely powerful from birth. He's not going like Hiranyakashipu. He's not going to the Mandara mountain performing austerities to get Shakti. He's not making deals with Asuras or Rakshasas to get potency. No, he's the Supreme Lord. And he is Vinasha Tuduskritam. Kamsa is trying to kill him. He's disposing all the demoniac elements. So there is always that two classes of person in the material world. the divine and the demoniac. The divine accept that the absolute truth is personal. Ishvara Parama Krishna, Satchidananda Vigraha. Sat, he is eternal. He is fully conscious. Nityo Nityanam Chaitanas Chaitananam. And he is full of bliss. He's full of personality, Vigraha. Why does the world exist? Why does the material energy, spirit? Because the Supreme Lord is very simple. Lila Mai. He is not static energy. He is ecstatic person. So part of his ecstasy is the creation. He is Purna. He is full. He is Atmaram. But he is, part of that Atmaram is he's expressing his brilliance, his inexhaustible, his infallible power. And so he's creating an eternal place, and he's creating the material energy, the pradhan. How is that done? The Chit Shakti is Krishna's conscious energy, but then he enters into Yoga Nidra. Now in the spiritual world, he's emanating the Chit Shakti, because he's fully conscious, fully expressive of himself. But he enters into Yoga Nidra. He goes into mystic slumber, Yoga Nidra, lying on Anantasesh. And there he exudes the pradhan, the causal ocean, the pradhan. So just like when we, because as above, below, we created in the image of the Supreme Lord, same principles that are in the Absolute Truth are manifest in his creation. So just like when we are sleeping at night, we are forgetfulness of ourself, right? We forget ourselves. We might think, oh, I'm Duryodhana on the battlefield, or I'm Bhishma, or I'm climbing a hill and flying from the top. We forget our actual self, if you like, even in the material sense. So that when Krishna enters into his Leela of Yoga Nidra, he's forgetting himself, if you like, in a mystic slumber. So the energy that he emanates, the pradhan, contains, this is discussed in the purports of the Brahma Samhita, the element of tamas. Not tama, tama. Tama means forgetfulness. It is the Chit Shakti, but it has an element of forgetfulness of self. Therefore, the three modes of material nature, the glance of Mahavishnu, under supervision of Lord Shiva, Durga Devi, the womb of material nature, the basic element of the material creation, the pradhan, contains this material energy, which is the pradhan acted upon by the three modes. This material energy, whatever its form, gross or subtle, has the effect of tama, forgetfulness of the Supreme. Therefore, when we approach the material energy to enjoy, we forget the Supreme. So the aim of human life is to awaken the ultimate principle within the soul of perception of that absolute Lord who's the emanating the Chit Shakti and the Achit Shakti, the pradhan. Do you understand the point? So if we go toward in the mood of enjoyment to the material energy, we are in touch with something that contains the element of tama, forgetfulness of the Supreme. So therefore all the materially conditioned people, they are all trying to contact the material energy. Lord Chaitanya has explained it, Dhanam, Janam, Sundaram, right? They want to, basically, they want wealth, they want Lakshmi. Janam, they want followers, they want to be a big man, right? And Sundaram, they want to dominate in a sensual manner. They want to extract from the material energy the good life. But this is all done in forgetfulness. So, and forgetfulness of the Supreme Lord means forgetfulness of Dharma, and therefore you become under the effect of karma. You pay back your karma, you step outside your dharmic, the codes. The codes of the Supreme we've discussed many times. Okay, you've got a material body. You need eat. Okay, eat in a sattvic way. Eat pure foods. Offer it to the Supreme Lord. Eating, sleeping. Okay, you have to sleep. Okay, but don't live to sleep, but sleep as required. Don't sleep at the sandhya, in the dusk or the dawn. Not advisable. That's the time of Bhutanath and his yakshas, rakshasas, bhutas, prachetas. Don't go into sleep. That's a dangerous time. The subtle energies will not be good. There's eating, sleeping, mating. You have a body, you have sex. Okay, you want to have sex, have a good wife. Be faithful to her, have children. But in a dharmic way. Don't think that sex life will be your ultimate happiness. That's a material thing. Dhanam janam sundaram. So, Supreme Lord is not saying give up the material energy. How can we? We've got this material body. It's got a certain time sequence to it. But live in your material body in a dharmic way, according to the codes of the Supreme Lord. And within that format, then rely on the faith. If you are living in a karmic way, or a pure way, then you will be under the defense of Paritranaya Sadhanam, the Supreme Lord. Your life will become purified. You'll be safe within this world. You'll realize the absolute truth. According to the different yugas, there is different ways to wake up the soul. In Kali Yuga, it is Shravanam, hearing the Bhagavatam, and Pranika Dunodita, getting knowledge in that way, the Gita, and also to chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So Bhishma was aware of these principles. He's one of the Ashta Vasus. So his name is Dhau, or Prabhasa. So he knew everything, but he'd given his vows. And also, situated in knowledge, ultimately he's detached. Because he knows that, like Prabhupada says in the purport there, yes, I may be the great Maharati, the great Bhishma, but Krishna will be victorious. Because yatra yogesvaro Krishna, yatra patha dhuratara, tatra sri vijayabhutir, matir nitya. Yeah. Yes, that is my opinion. So even Sanjay, who's speaking to Duryodhana, is saying, sorry. At the end, it's a sandwich, you know. At the beginning, Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra, you know, Dhritarashtra is nervous. What did they do? And all the soldiers, when they see Yudhisthira approach Bhishma, they think, what's going to happen? Is he going to surrender because he's afraid? And then they see Arjuna, because he's compassionate. Oh, these my teachers, how can I fight and kill? But those people of knowledge know that Krishna, samaham sarvabhuteshu na dvesho na priyaha, right? I'm equal to everyone. I don't I'm not whimsical. I don't like that person, I like that person. No. He's not playing favorites. But those that render service to me, they are a friend to me and I am a friend to them. Like that Bhagavatam verse, right? It's in the 11th, that saints are my heart, Krishna says. It's in the Uddhava Gita. Saints are my heart. Only I am in their hearts. They know no one but me, and I know only them. So Krishna, he is a person. This is the secret of understanding life. People want to say absolute truth is void or is impersonal. But the whole secret of life is to perform the bhajan of Krishna. To take shelter of Krishna. We're in this material world, but Duryodhana can't because he's demoniac, expansion of Kali Yuga. He wants to just enjoy this world. He wants to become God. So all these philosophies in Kali Yuga now, this one, that one, this one, that one, scientism, this, they're all different Ravana religions. Very popular now in Kali Yuga, tantric. They worship different ghostly entities to get power, to control. And they teach people there is no God, there's only the material energy. That's the explanation. Keep the people ignorant. But they're doing all these mystical things, sacrificing animals and things that can't even be mentioned. But, so that is the foolishness. There is the two classes, the divine and demoniac. But the demoniac are always crushed. They're always wiped aside. Actually, there's a story in the Jivadharma, Bhakti-Vinod Thakur, talking about false philosophies to cheat people. Bhakti-Vinod Thakur explains that the demons, they were always being defeated by the devotees. So they were considering, why is it we're always, want to get hold of the heavenly regions, we're fed up down here in Atala, Vitala, Sutala, Mahatala, Patala, Tala, Patala. We're fed up of all this in the darkness, all this technology. We want to be up there in Swagaloka, at least. Lord Brahma, we can work on him later, the demons think, but we'll just go up there. We'll have a really good time in the Nandanandan gardens. So they were thinking, how is it that these devatas are always defeating us? It's like the mafia. You know, the demon, like the mafia is always thinking, why is it the government is always winning? Why are we dealing with the prostitutes and the money laundering and the intoxication? Why can't we be the government? They're always trying to, you know. So you can think of it like that. The devatas are like Krishna's ministers of the material energy, whereas the asuras, they're like the mafia. They're doing the bad things. Money, intoxication, prostitution, meat eating, gambling, right? It's what they do, isn't it? Gambling, houses and so on. But they always want to get up top. They always want to get more power in the government. So the demons are always thinking, why is it we're always defeated? Maybe it's because they worship Vishnu. And the best we're ever doing is worshipping Lord Shiva. But it seems that Lord Shiva has got a different allegiance. Right? So maybe we should become worshippers of Vishnu, and we'll get Shakti from him, and then we'll defeat the Devatas. They're thinking like that in the lower planetary systems. So then Vishnu saw this, and he's, okay, this is their, look, they're getting smart, these demons. They want to worship me. So look, Lord Shiva, you, Mayavada, what's that verse? Mayavada Mashak Shastram Prashchanam Buddha Muchite. Shankar, Lord Shiva, he speaks to Parvati. It's in the Padma Purana. He says, under the order of Lord Vishnu, I spread Mayavad philosophy in Kali Yuga. And so Bhakti-Vinod explains that this energy idea that is absorbed by the material scientists, it's just energy or voidism, they're both more or less the same. I spread it so that the demons are attracted to that philosophy. And therefore they separate out from the bhaktas, the Vaishnavas. Because the Vaishnavas are very happy and joyous, worshipping Radha Krishna, Lakshmi Narayan, Sita Ram, right? They're very happy. So in Kali Yuga, they're going to become very strong. The demons, the Rakshasas are going to try and control Bhumandala with their technology and we can control the material energy and be. So we'll give them this philosophy, Mayavad. So therefore they won't worship me. And because Lord Vishnu, if he's worshipped, his nature is Eko Yo Didati Kaman. You know, okay. Yeah, you know, what is that verse in the Bhagavatam? Akama savakama muksha kama udharyade trivrena bhakti-yogena yajite purusham param. Why? Because Vishnu, Krishna, by his kindness, if you worship him, then he'll give you what you worship. Right? He'll give you. So if the demons and Ravana, then it's a perplexing situation. So therefore, I'll give them the Mayavad philosophy. So he says there, Lord Shiva says to Parvati, so I spread this Mayavad and this voidism in Kali Yuga, so that all the demoniac type people leave the Vaishnavas, a Sangha, alone. So the many things there. So if you understand the basic ideas of philosophy, then you can understand everything. Huh? So you see that, right? In the Mayavadis, they think I'm God. Namo Narayan. Namo Narayan. Next week they're running to the hospital. I've got a toothache, doctor. Oh, if everything's illusion, so's your toothpaste, so's your toothache. That's an illusion. So don't come to my surgery. Go somewhere else. Everything's illusion. There's no difference. Oh, well, then put salt in your tea instead of sugar. It's all one. So, this ridiculous philosophy. But that is the rebelliousness of the demoniac. They don't want to accept the Supreme Lord. Even though Suridam Sarvabhutanam, Supreme Lord is the best friend of everyone. So in Kali Yuga, these tantric religions of manipulating the material energy, trying to control the material energy through technology, all these ideas or false political systems, they're all failures. Therefore they all crash, and all the societies that are built on these ideas, just like Soviet Russia, right, was built on Marxism, but it just collapsed. It's useless. The Tartary, the Mongol Empire, was the biggest ever contiguous one, and that collapsed. Alexander the Great, he died. Here's an interesting story. Alexander the Great, he died in Pakistan, what's now Pakistan. He was trying to go through India and come round, and somebody stabbed him with a poisonous lance. In Pakistan they have this medicine, they're very into this herbalism. So, and then he died on the way back. And then there was the Roman Empire. And now there's the big American Empire, they're bombing everyone. So they will also collapse. Everything collapses because they're working outside Dharma. You see, they're working outside. So the laws of karma just grab them and say, you've gone up. And then they come down. Yes, so that's it, it'll collapse.
Yeah, the Muslim empire is really growing.
Well, apparently. But now in Saudi Arabia, if you read the newspapers, the new leader of Saudi Arabia, he's putting on big rave parties in the middle of Saudi Arabia. I don't know if you know. So, no, everything, it just takes time. It just takes, 1,400 years is nothing. It's a blip. It's a blip. It's a blip. We're talking in times, thousands of years. Anyway, so if we look at the history, Mahabharata, Ramayana, if we look at the Itihasas, we look at the Puranas, we just see that the demoniac idea to control the material energy and then enjoy. Ishavasha idam sarvam yatkinjat jagat. Everything is controlled and owned by the Supreme Lord. He's the source. He's the owner. Just like if I make a painting, I can say this is my painting to illustrate the point. So Krishna is the owner of and controller of the painting, this creation. But people don't want to recognize this Supreme Person. So they think they're free to do anything, and then they take the consequences. So the secret of life is to understand that the Supreme is a person, and to follow the advice of the Acharyas, read the Bhagavatam, Gita, the Puranas, and chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Then you'll realize personally and directly the Supreme Lord. So any questions? It's cold.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much for the class. You see in the verse number 10, Duryodhana as a leader, he is telling that Apraptatmam Bagam Bhisma Virakshitam. So he is praising that they are protected by the Bhisma, who has the power unlimited. And then he is telling all his armies to give support to Ainesh Sarvesu to support to the Bhisma. In this particular verse, the translation you see, Sanjay is saying that Bhisma blow his conch very loudly just to give a joy to Arjuna.
Cheer him. Well, he was sensing, as we can see, that Duryodhana was a bit worried, you know. Before the battle, he was, you know. Yes, go on.
He's worried, but he's very puffed up that he says that my army is so much unlimited.
Well, he's trying to convince himself, isn't it?
And then
like when you go into a boxing match, you tell yourself, I'm the winner.
The question here is when Sanjay
but you're fighting Muhammad Ali.
Bhisma blew the conch to give a joy to Duryodhana.
Yeah.
Wherein the purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that there is no chance for his victory.
Yeah.
And just to give a this thing that okay, there is no chance for victory, but he will not leave any stone untouched to give him the support to the Duryodhana.
That's his vow, to always support the person on the throne of the Kuru dynasty.
Yes. So my question is, when in the translation clearly given that is to give a joy to Duryodhana, whereas the purport is different. So how Srila Prabhupada writes that?
No, the Prabhupada doesn't contradict that. But you see, it's a subtle point. You see, Duryodhana was nervous. You know, it's there in the text, if you sense it, if you read the purports. But the thing is, Bhishma was trying to cheer him up. But with a big, okay, I've got Bhishma on my side. But the thing is, within his heart, Duryodhana is little worried, right? He's saying, oh, look at this. Dristajumna has done a great job, Dronacharya. You're the leader of me, but your student is on that side. You've taught him everything you know. Plus, everyone knew that the king of Drupad, he had a fight. He was the father of Dristajumna, and he had a fight with Dronacharya. So he performed a yajna to get a son that would kill Dronacharya. So that was common knowledge. So all these things are coming to mind in the battlefield. Dristajumna, he's born to kill Dronacharya, who's in charge. Bhishma, well, his heart is with the Pandavas, you know. So Duryodhana is, so he's trying to put on a brave face, you know. But he's in the lion's den, right? So there's no contradiction there. The Prabhupada's giving greater insight into the mind of a Duryodhana, into the consciousness. And it's also there, you know, that before a battle, generally there's omens, you know, and people sense victory. They also sense defeat. That's coming because we have 5 gross senses, but we have the mind. So the mind is the container of consciousness that is closest to Krishna, closest to Buddhi. So the accomplished person is able to sense things. In Kali Yuga, animals are more psychic than humans in Kali Yuga, generally speaking. So in Kali Yuga, people are so confused in their mind by adharma and karmic effects that they're practically losing the psychic abilities. But this is Dwapara Yuga, and Duryodhana is thinking, because the thing is, when you do bad things, it's not like you can do, the house of lac, burning it down, the poisoned cake. It's not that you do bad things and then it's over. When you do bad things, they tend to follow you like a ghost, do they not? Right? A good person, at least, will think, oh, I did a bad thing, I should apologize, I should be remorseful, I should make some recompense. So Duryodhana wasn't ready to do that, but he was sensing, I've done so many bad things, I've been following what Sakuni said, I was terrible to Draupadi, and Drishtajumna is on the other side, so the ghost of his past activities are bearing on his mind. You understand? And especially then, the next, it's not today's verse, but then, like, the Pondram, Arjuna's conch shell, and Krishna's conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, then these were shaking.
The thrust on the beginning, like he was nervous that whether the fight will be there or not in the first part. And same situation probably was with, because whenever the war is there those days, they started with the conch shell, blowing the conch shell. And first conch shell in the Mahabharata is blown by the Bhishma. So
yes.
Once he blew the first conch shell, that means the war definitely is going to be there at that point of time.
Yeah.
That is giving a joy to
yes,
Duryodhana. Yes, there is a war and they won't be deprived of anything. So that could be one of the reasons.
Because Yudhisthira has got the permission to fight.
Yes.
That means he's, like I explained this,
Yes.
he's intent on fighting. When he was crossing, they were thinking, oh, maybe he'll make a compromise.
Yes.
But then he got permission from Bhishma.
Assurance was there for him, yes, war will be there, so he's happy.
So the demoniac people, it's like the criminals. If you're a con man or a bad person, even if you're, like, as they say nowadays, a psychopath, there's something in the back of your mind. They're coming for me. Because, it's your activities follow you like a ghost and whisper in your ear at night when you're sleeping.
Yes, most of it.
Therefore, be careful about what you perform. Don't. But the thing is, how do you do it in Kali Yuga? How do you get rid of those? You surrender to Krishna. Muksha yashami māsa. Krishna says, he also in the Gita he says, those that remember me, even at the hour of death, I will take them. Yeah. So Krishna is merciful. It doesn't matter if you've been Duryodhana your whole life, if you wise up. But you see, that's the arrogance of people, right? They don't want to admit. It's the God complex. They don't want to admit they made a mistake because they think, I'm God, how can I make a mistake? They don't want to admit their fallibility, akshara. But it's in the Gita, right? In the material world, everyone, in the spiritual platform, everyone is infallible. But in the material plane, everyone's fallible. So we should admit our fallibility. We make mistakes all the time. And we see in this world, if people make mistakes and they say, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, then everyone forgives them. But proud people, they don't want to admit. They compound their mistake by lying and this. Oh, I didn't do it. No, that's a false rumor. So the best thing is honesty's the best policy. But that takes humility. But then if somebody admits their mistake, then everyone thinks, never mind, I make mistakes myself. Right? So the thing is, by not admitting your mistakes, that is the biggest mistake. That makes your mistake bigger. Best to just think, yes, I'm in this material world, trouble and faults, weal and woe, they're my companions. But look at the reality of the situation. Even in psychology they say like that. We may have, in the past, we may have done so many things or had so many things done to us, but we should bring them up to the consciousness and then forgive. You see? Don't bury them. So self-examination is very important on spiritual life. And a certain, what is that word? Remorsefulness? Oh, I've made mistakes. I've done bad things. And admit that. Because then you're on the, if you don't recognize you have a disease, how are you ever going to act to get rid of the disease? Right? You're a doctor, right? First, the patient has to understand you're sick. I'm sick. Then you can take the treatment. But the material people don't, oh, no, I'm perfect and complete. So, any other question points? Yes, go ahead. Oh, we have to finish because our cameraman, yeah, go on.
Bhishma is a
Take
Kshatriya. He got all the educations. He's a son of Santanu. Even basically, we after 5,000 years, we came to know the basic things. Should not be bodily concept. We are not this body. We are spirit soul.
Yes.
How come Bhishma, even though why the Lord performed this Leela? I am asking. This is the question. If Bhishma, why he see all his dynasties as a father, image of his father? It's bodily concept, right?
Why is he doing that? Well, the thing was, he had made him an offense. He tried to, under the pushing of his wife, he tried to steal the Kamadhenu of Vasishtha Muni. You understand? You know, he's one of the Astavastus. Yeah, Astavastus. So he was working under an offense, actually. And he was the main instigator. It was his wife that said, look, Vasishtha Muni's got a Kamadhenu. My dear husband, why don't you get that for me? Well, he's a sage. He doesn't need a Kamadhenu. So he had done that. So even though, of course, he's one of the, this is Leela from our point of view, we should know. But the thing is, he's actually still the element of offending Vasishtha Muni is also following. We can think in that way, that there was an element. So it was following him, you see. And also he had no wife. His wife had made that trouble for him, right? Bhishma, there was all. So if you study the background, all the different there's a great book called Puranic Encyclopedia. Have you seen it? You can look up all these personalities, and it references the different past lives and what they did according to the Puranas. And so Bhishma, even though he's a Mahajan, yeah, a great soul, but they are illustrating things. They're illustrating. So it's Leela. We shouldn't think, oh, he was, but still, there's an element. Because Krishna says in the Gita, what does he say? He says that in this material world there is no being who is free of the material modes of material nature. Huh? And we, like Lord Brahma, it's 5% mode of goodness, 95% by way of Vaikuntha. So Lord Brahma even. But in the spiritual world, pure Sat, pure Chit. You see, so in this material world, if you're a Deva, if you're in Devaloka, still. I mean, it's there in the Uddhava Gita. It says sometimes even the Devatas, they think, who's this on Bhumandala performing all this chanting of Hare Krishna and becoming a great soul? They think, I think I'll give him a hard time. There's many stories. Let me see how great he is. Right? There's many stories in the Puranas. So the devatas, they are devotees. And even in our temple, sometimes devotees, they have, right, personality clash. Why did you serve him before me? I joined the temple 1 month before him. You should respect me. Right? So that is material, that's mode of passion, status, position, right? So the way to attain detachment, jnana vairag, you see. If you understand, then you become detached from the material energy. Therefore, the beginning of the Bhagavatam is the story of Dharma, right at the beginning, right? Kali is beating Dharma. Yeah, and Parikshit Maharaj comes, and Dharma, who is beating you? Kali is there, dressed as a king. And Dharma says, well, there's many philosophies, many explanations, but it's happening to me. I take it as the mercy of the Supreme Lord. He doesn't say, he did it. No, he just says, it's all the mercy. It has the sanction of... We discussed this last week, right? That lady asked 10 times the same question. I just take it as the mercy of the Supreme. So that's right at the Bhagavatam. Paramo nimacharanam satam. So every devotee should understand that point. That if you want to be sadhu, you should just sing. It has the sanction of Krishna. So that's knowledge. Where is knowledge in Kali Yuga? In the Srimad Paranaka Dunodita. Right? So if something doesn't go according to our plan, we should just think, it has the sanction of Krishna. Let me stay peaceful. Okay, thank you all very much. Thank you for coming, class. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.